Asalaamu calaykum guys, kusoo dhawaada qaybta saddexaad. Haddii aad channelka ku cusub tahay, fadlan subscribe dheh, ardayda kalena la share garee. Qaybtan waxaan sameynaynaa coding ayaan sameynaynaa. Marka haddii uu Flutter haysatid ama kusoo xawilmay, then you can follow along. Laakiin haddaa Flutter lahayn, isku day inaa maaragtay Flutter soo xawilatid saa hodhowtii ila sii socotid markaa coding sameynayno. Marka let's get started. So waxaan sameeyay new project ayaan sameeyay. Marka projectigan waxaa haysanaa homepage, which is my homepage. So my homepage is a stateless widget, and widgetkan wuxuu haystaa empty container. So inta waxaan haysanaa an iPhone iyo Android. Marka iPhone-ada iyo Android labadoodaba empty way waayo. Our container has no child. Marka waxaan sameynaynaa containerkan wuxuu qaataa height, child, width, color, padding, margin iyo decorator. So haddii aasaan dhahdid waa arkaysaa wuxuu qaato. If you want to see more, waxaa dhahaysaa control space if you're using Mac, and or if you're using Windows, you could also say option space ama alt space. Marka let's give it a child, this container. So we'll give it a text, for example. Let's give it a column, because we talked about column last part. So column it takes a children. This children is a list of widgets. Where Marka first child it will take is a text widget, right? So let's give it child 1. Let's save it. Now we have a child 1 here. Also, this doesn't look good, so we need to format our code. So markasta wax qoraysi, make sure you put comma. Kabacdi save there. Hadduu kan ku shaqayn waayo, once you put comma and you save adaaday, hadduu ku shaqayn waayo, waxaad dhahaysaa you go on your either if you're using Android Studio or if you're using IntelliJ, you have to go on preference, go under body, language and framework, kabacdi go to Flutter and make sure you check format code on save and organize imports on save. Labadaa markaa save dhaadid, you say apply. Kabacdi you might need to restart. Waxaa laga rabaa inaa exit dhahdid, kabacdi start again. Markaasuu kuu shaqeynaya. Marka look hadda markii aan sameynay, it doesn't look good. So waxaan sameynaynaa, let's give it a safe area in our application. So if we give it a safe area, right? So safe area wuxuu sameynayaa all our stuff is it will not be below it will be below status. Lakin still it doesn't work. Marka waxaan rabnaa inaa our application doesn't look si fiican uma fiicna. Marka we need to have we need to wrap this container again. Waxaa dhahaysaa option enter for Mac, or alt enter for Windows. Kabacdi waxaa qoraysaa scaffold. Scaffold of course takes a body as a widget. So this widget should be a body instead of a container. And now let's save our application. Now it looks much better. And let's run it on Windows as well. It looks nice, better than before. And this debug mode, if you want to get rid of that, what you can do is say show debugger mode and false. So debug show checked mode banner, set it to false, then it is gone now. Sidoo kale intana sidaas way. Okay, marka we have a scaffold. Marka scaffold has a lot of methods. For example, it takes an up bar, which is a preferred size widget. It also takes a floating action button, which is a widget. It takes it takes a drawer, which you could open a menu, right? So let's change, let's add a app bar first. An app bar, as we talked, is a preferred size widget. So we give it an app bar, right? And then this app bar takes other variable, methods as well. It has a leading widget, which would be on here. It takes also a title, right? And it takes an actions, which is a list of widgets. So we could have a bunch of actions. So let's do that. So leading, so let's give it a icon, right? And this icon takes an icon data. So icons, let's see menu, where is the menu button? Yeah, let's give it a menu button. Okay, and let's save it. Now we have a menu button right there. And then, so this is a leading button. Let's give it a title as well. So let's give it a title, which is a text. And let's say app bar title. And now let's save it. And once hot reload, as you can tell, we have an app title. Also, let's run it on our iPhone 11 as well, which is also app title there. We could add up icon buttons. So where we could do some, we could have a search icon, add icon. So what we need to do is we need to add a actions. And remember, action takes a list of widgets, right? So by default, it is like this. So it is widgets. Sasa way, like in Flutter, this is optional. So mo bahanin asas message. Sasa ya desa. Our first action button would be a icon button. So remember, we have an icon which takes icon data. We have an icon button too, which takes an icon data, right? So what we need to do is we wrote icon, right? Remember, icon takes, if you look at if you hover over your mouse on here and you look, it takes an icon data, right? Which is icon of a type icon data, right? And our icon data is nothing but icons dot, let's do research, search button, right? Also, it takes an on press. What is on press? If you hover over on press, if you look at on press, it's not telling me, but let's look here. Where's on press? On press. So let's look on here. So on press is here. Yeah, on press right here is a function, right? It's a for function which does return anything, and it just takes that. So what we do, we could just give it a function like that. Here we're missing a comma. Make sure you give it a comma, and then once we save, look at that, we have an icon button which is a search, right? We could also add more buttons, right? So let's clean up this. Let's put a comma here and comma, and then let's save. Now our code looks much readable. So let's copy this icon again. Let's copy this icon button again. Let's put another button, and this button, let's make it add, right? So we have an add button, and let's save. Now we have an add button. So now our app looks much better, right? So if you hadii u baahan tahay scaffold, waa isticmaalaysaa, markaa isticmaalaysaa scaffold, you have an app bar, and then our body is a container. So this container uma jeedno, laakiin haddii aad bedelno, remember, if you go control space for Mac, and then you have the height, color, width, right? So right now, let's give it a color. And color, remember, takes a color type, right? So we could do color, and then it takes a value, right? So we could give it a hex value, so 0xFF, right? And then the value you want. I don't have a value, so let's search what to do. So let's search for a color, color hex. So if we search a color hex, let's say this color looks nice. So let's copy up to here. Don't copy the hashtag. Don't copy that. Kabacdi, 0ff kabacdi we paste it on here and we save our program and we get this. Remember our column, our container, it takes all the available size based on the text, this text. Marka hata height maana siinin, marka containerkan wuxuu qaadanayaa the height and width of this text. Marka haddaan rabna inaan height siino, waxaa height ayaan siinaynaa 400, kabacdi width ayaan siinaynaa ayadana 400. Kabacdi if we save, now our container takes up this whole screen, half of the screen. So if we haddii aan run dhahno, now right now uma jeedno our text. Marka let's do some style. So haddii aan rabna style inaan sameyno, remember our text takes what? It takes style, right? Text align, text location, direction, right? So let's style this text. It takes a text style, right? This text style, now what does it take? So it takes a color, right? A background color, font size, font weight, font style. So let's just give it a color right now. And let's say color is white. So if we save, now we have a white color, right? Make sure you put a comma here so it looks nice. And let's change font size, maybe to 25, right? Now our child is, our text child is bigger. Also same thing for iPhone, right? So let's give it a font weight, right? Font weight takes a font weight dot bold. If we do that, we make the font weight a little bit bold, right? So we could do that. So let's add another text, right? Since we're in a column, we could, remember, we could put widgets below each other. So let's give this child 2. And now we have two widgets on top of each other, below each other, not on top but below on each other. So we could add another widget if you want. Let's add another widget. Right now, let's actually add a button. Actually, let's put a text button, right? Text button on press. Right now is nothing. We're not doing any on press. And now let's do a text, which we call it click me, right? If we do that, but now we have a text which is click me. Right now you cannot see by default text button. It's just there's no borders around here. So we could change this text button to elevated button. So elevated button, now we have a nice border around here, and we have some feedback when the user clicks on it. Now if you want to change this color, we could change style, right? And then elevated button dot style, right? So now let's change the color. So we could give it a primary of a colors dot red, for example. Now it has a red background for this color. So all these channels are close to each other. So we can give a space. waxaa isticmaalaynaa size box, right? haddii aad size box isticmaalno, we could just do a quick lookup, see what this one takes. So remember, this one takes a width, which is a double, height, and a child. Right now we don't need a child, we don't need width, we only need height because we want to give space between each child. So we can give a space like here. And let's make sure we put a space there, right? We could give it a space here, and then we could copy same thing and put a space here as well. We could do that, but we could also use another way, which called column give us, and we talked about this last lecture. So main alignment, right? Main alignment by default is a vertical, right? Let's save this first. Let's save. Okay, yeah. So now main alignment takes a main alignment type, right? So we give it a main alignment dot. Now we could set our value to the center. So we put vertically and horizontally center right here, right? Also, we could change to end, right? So we could put our widgets to the end, which is the bottom. We could also give a space evenly. So for each child, we could give it a space, even space. So there is a even space on each. So there is like even space from bottom. From these two child, it is evenly spaced. And we could also give another space around as well. We could give it a space around, and we could give a space between and each child. So one is on the top, one is on the bottom, and one is on the middle. So so this main alignment is mostly on vertical. Also, we have a horizontal alignment, so which is cross alignment. So cross alignment is a horizontal. So we could put values to the center, right? So let's put this. Let's save this, right? So our value is set to the center, right? We could also put it to the start. This will be on the start here. So we have start, center, and end. So we could put it onto the end as well. Haddii u baahan tahay end, dhahayna kabacdi intan ayaan keenayna. What else do we have? And baseline, start, yeah, stretch. Kuwan waxa weeye every child gets a stretch to the from here to here. For example, our button is all the way from left to right, right? So container saas ayaan samayn karnaa. Also, by default, this container, the main access size is maximum, but we could change it to minimum. So we say main access size dot min. Now it will be min, right? So also there's a built-in colors we could give in here. So color is dot blue. So now our color is blue. Flutter gives you built-in colors, so you could choose color is dot amber, for example. And then also you could check the shade you want. Haddii aad rabtid wax yariisa, shade yariisa, you put amber, and waa ujeedaa wax yariis oo yellow. Haddii aad rabtid waxaad dhahaysaa shade 900 if you really want it dark. Haddii aad u baahan tahay somewhere in the middle, you could make it 500, right? So that color, you could play around with it. This code would be available on GitHub. And so today we talk about, just to recap, we talk about safe area to keep things below our status bar. We have a scaffold where we could use an up bar, and our up bar contains a menu button. It has a title, and then we could give it actions, which could be icon buttons where the user could click if the user want to do some research, if you want to make the user add. And then we talk about column and a container. Remember, container, haddii aan height siinin and we save, it positions everything based on the children. So if we make it max here, now it takes up the whole and available width. The column is taking that. The column is taking the whole available width. And if we make it minimum, it only takes how many children it has. So that's all the space it will take. Marka waxaan ka hadlanay column. We also talk about main alignment, right? So main alignment is for vertical, right? And we also talk about cross alignment, which is for horizontal, right? So we talk about that as well. So it takes up the whole space from left to right, right? And also we talk about APAR. So next video we'll talk about row widgets. Right now we talk about column, but in the next video we'll talk about row widget and the difference. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel, and you could get you could get more notification every time I circulate new videos. See you next video.